So good morning. I'm so excited that you're all here for this very important Jerusalem White Stone ceremony. What Rich is going to do is he's going to pass the basket. You can take a stone, choose it carefully. The stone, should feel good in your hands. It should look the way you'd like it to look. They're all a little different. There's also a card that talks about it that you can take, and there's some pins in there, and when you're done using the color you want, maybe pass it to somebody else. You don't have to write your word right now. You can wait and do that. That'll be part of what we do in just a little bit. So if you'd like to go ahead and...
So right now
we're just going to, as the basket passes, choose your stone very carefully. Think about how it feels in your hand. How does the color and the veining of the stone feel? And once you have selected your perfect stone, allow yourself to feel the energy of the stone. Feel how the energy courses through your hands. The white stone ceremony is an ancient ritual. It's okay, don't worry about it. No, don't worry about it, we'll get it. Back in biblical times, when someone served time in prison, or maybe they were in bondage of some sort, when they were released, they were given a white stone. It could be said that each of us today is coming from some sort of bondage. Perhaps something's holding us back from our recognizing and realizing our divinity and our potential. Maybe it's a belief that we're not enough, or that we don't deserve the gifts that we've already been given. So today we're being given a white stone to signify our freedom. When you hold your white stone in your hand, know that you are starting with a clean slate. This is a new year and a new beginning. So in this ceremony, we're going to do two things. We are choosing our white stone, and we're also writing our guiding word for the year on that stone. Now, these white stones that we're using are from Hebron, Israel. We ordered them special, and they came to us just in time, as always. And in Revelations, John talks about the people being given a new name, and he says, "Let anyone who has an ear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches." Now back then, the churches were the people gathered to talk about spiritual things. So with anybody, they were given a new name. Let anyone who has an ear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. And what he's saying is that the ear is not referring to the outer ear, but the ear of the soul which is within us. This refers to the ear that hears that still small voice as it whispers to us when we're quiet, when we take a moment to let the clatter and chaos from the outside world go away. When we just take that moment to be quiet and go within. And of course we develop this inner listening quality by getting out of our intellect and by getting into our hearts through prayer and through meditation. The Bible verse continues and says, "To everyone who conquers, I will give some of the hidden manna." Meaning, to all who see beyond appearances, I will give all that is needed to live. To everyone who conquers, for us followers of Spirit, it is not an outer war at all, but an inner war that requires our surrender. We are to be in the world, but not of the world. Right? We are in the world, but not of it. And it's a seeming paradox here. When we surrender to the call of Spirit and align ourselves with our good, then and only then do we conquer. Only in surrender is there victory. By letting God be God in, as, and through me. Because I gotta say, God knows more about what will bring me joy than I can conjure up in my imagination. But again, that divine urge that we have is God expressing through us. So by opening up and allowing that to flow, we're aware of what it is that is bringing us joy. So in the days of wandering in the wilderness with Moses, God sent manna down every day. And you've all heard the term manna from heaven, It says bring it on, right? Our surrender to the call of the divine fulfills the sacred promise, and manna passes from the invisible to the visible. So we're taking all of the gifts that have already been given. They're in the invisible realm, and they come into manifestation through what? Through what power? Through our thoughts, through our commitment and decision. When we choose something, all of the universe rushes and conspires to bring that to us in our experience and in our world of outer effects. So the hidden manna is derived from our higher selves nourishing the soul first and then the body. So of course that's the seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else will be given. Jesus alluded to this very thing when he told the disciples, I have food to eat that you do not know about. The hidden manna is the vital life substance and energy of spirit expressing in, as, and through us. And the second part of the promise, and I will give a white stone, and on the white stone is written a new name, and no one knows except the one who receives it. So for those of you who are somewhat familiar with the Judeo-Christian Bible, you will note that there were many name changes throughout the stories, especially throughout the entire Bible. For example, the story of Saul, which means personal will, was struck to his knees and was blind for 3 days, meaning that he had to look within. Remember, the Bible's written in a lot of parables, right? He went from persecuting Christians to helping them. He became the reason that Christianity in its entirety did survive. His travels to spread Christianity literally changed the face of the earth as we know it today. And he was given a new name of his awakening. Does anybody remember what he was given, what he was named? Paul, that's right. Saul, personal will, was transformed to Paul, which means enlightened will. Isn't that interesting? Turning from the ego, the personal will, to the enlightened will. Abram, as he grew in spiritual awareness, became Abraham. Sarai became Sarah. The change always signifies a change in consciousness. And I find it very interesting with our Native American culture that whenever something huge would happen, many stories they would talk about how they would change their name. I thought that was, pretty interesting how this custom crossed continents without a direct connection, or so we think, right? So in biblical times, the name was a very, very sacred thing. Every name represented a quality. Every name in the Bible actually means a quality that there was in the person who carried it at that time, who carried that name. They didn't choose a name for their child because they liked the name. They didn't have very many apples or, I don't know, whatever they're naming the kids out there today. But they didn't choose that name because they liked it. They chose it for the essence that they saw in their child. And I've always been a believer that our children almost name themselves, because names would come to me, but there would be one that would stand out. And it was pretty interesting. I think all of my children named themselves. Of course, they're all very beautiful names. So, white metaphysically represents joy, victory, and purification. In this white stone, or purified state of consciousness, we know that Spirit, God, universal consciousness, and I are one. So we are one with the universal consciousness. In this white stone consciousness, we remember what God said to Moses, I am who I am. And in this higher white stone consciousness within ourselves, we learn our new name, an entirely new realization of our true I am. We conquer and receive the hidden manna, our full potential, by consciously surrendering and letting go of that unnecessary baggage. Through prayer and meditation, by utilizing the tools of affirmations and visioning, and by remembering that I am and God is. So one of my breathing meditations is to say, God is as I inhale, and as I exhale, I say, I am. So let's try that together. God is, I am. God is, I am. So as we embody this truth, we make space for unlimited possibilities to become manifest. In creating a space in our consciousness, we open ourselves to the unlimited possibilities, to unlimited potential. And so I invite you to open your mind and your heart and your soul to the loving presence of Spirit for the next few moments. Allow yourself to feel and remember who you are, a divine expression of the One, the beloved in whom Spirit is well pleased. While you're in this silence, what comes to you? Perhaps a new career, a new title, or a new quality is desiring to come forth and be made manifest. Give yourself permission to recognize and accept the new name or quality that has been given. I'm sorry?
Can I give one that God gave me on the first?
Anytime? Oh, yes, you can. So if you know the word that you wish to write on your stone, please take a moment and do that right now. If you know what it is you would like to write on your stone. If you're not quite sure yet, you can hold on to your stone and take it with you or meditate on your word at any time. I would love a stone if you want to bring me one. When you're through with your pen, if somebody needs a pen, you're more than welcome to pass it on. Anybody need a pen? Thank you. Do you want to use this one? Okay. Oh, hold on to your stones, yeah.
My stone bag.
Well, I want you to hold it for a moment. So I want us to become still. And close your eyes if you choose. And hold your white stone in your hand and see it as a symbol of your new life. See it as a symbol of who you have become, or of who you are becoming, or of who you would like to become. Feel the presence of God and know your oneness with God. Feel that loving presence of Spirit as it surrounds and supports you. Know right now that you are safe and secure. You are loved and supported by the presence of God. Behold, the Christ of God in each of us says, I make all things new. Let anyone who has an ear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. To everyone who conquers, I will give some of the hidden manna, and I will give a white stone, and on this white stone is written a new name that no one knows except the one who received it. To those that overcame, who moved forward with faith, a new name has been given. Today we contemplate our new name, for each of us here has overcome adversity. We have freed ourselves to live more fully, conscious of the activity of the whole Spirit of God in every aspect of our lives and the creative life force. In this recognition, we free ourselves to live more fully, releasing ourselves from bondage, the prison of limiting thoughts about ourselves, each other, and our world. Anytime you look at your white stone, realize that you have the gift of choice, the gift to live differently, to live a more fulfilling life, to begin again, to connect with your source, to co-create with Spirit. No one in the universe except you and God know what your word is and what you have chosen for your stone, unless you choose to share it, which we'll get to do that if you'd like to. This word has come to you to be lived out, to be expressed, to be embodied as you. It is what God's Spirit is calling you to be or to do. It is a whisper from your soul that you are so much more than you have ever let come into expression. We are grateful as we receive our new guiding word, and with it, the power and guidance to achieve all that we desire. We are on the path to gaining greater insights and awareness and mark a new beginning. It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Accept this consciousness of ever-increasing good in your life. I invite you to carry this stone as a reminder of that promise. And so we'll bring this ceremony to an end by saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
So